Terence Crawford has fired back at Jaron "Boots" Ennis after being called out, making it clear that he is not impressed by the challenge. Crawford's response sends a straightforward message, saying he does not believe Boots has what it takes to defeat him.
When to exchange, when not to exchange. When in the move, when to hold. Like if you watched when he got real hurt, real bad, he didn't know when to hold. And we all yelling like, grab him. He's right there to be.
After stopping Xander Zayas, Boots confidently declared that he was ready to face anyone, including Terence Crawford, Virgil Ortiz, Sebastian Fundora, or any other top fighter at 154 pounds. However, Crawford quickly shifted the conversation with his response. Rather than praising Boots for the victory, Bud dismissed the performance, laughed off the challenge, and suggested he noticed weaknesses in the fight that many fans had overlooked.
Keep one thing in mind. I don't think no one picked Xander to win.
No.
And I love Xander, and he's a great kid, but no one, like, I think we overhyping this victory, in a sense where nobody picked Xander to win. Everybody was kind of like, okay, he's in over his head, and it's a matter of time before Boots catch him and end the fight. But what round will it be?
Right.
Now, I think it's going to be different when he goes up against a Fundora or a Virgil, because if one of those guys get him hurt like Xander did, I don't think it's going to be the same outcome.
Boots looked powerful, dangerous, and explosive, but he also took some clean shots during the fight. Crawford and his team are pointing to those moments as evidence that Ennis is not yet prepared to handle a fighter with Bud's elite timing, patience, and ring intelligence.
Like I said, man, of course everybody knows the competitive nature in myself, but I don't worry about coming back to prove anything, because me coming back and proving something to people that it doesn't matter, what never matters, for that being, they would say, oh, well, he only fought Xander, or they'll come up with some type of excuse, but to credit Boots, like, he's a tremendous talent, and he's no walk in the park for no one, so he's a threat to anyone that he stepped foot in the ring with,
He also made it clear that he believes he is 10 steps ahead of Boots, sending a message that goes far beyond a typical response and shows just how confident he is in the matchup.
Dora, I need Ortiz. We need names, Boots. None of that tune-up. None of that. If you want to be one of the best, you got to go out there and get it and be the best. Get back in the ring by 2027. Come on. If you really want to be one of them boys, I see he loves to talk. I see that. But you got to just show us in the ring. The resumes, that was the beginning of the resume.
When Crawford says he has nothing left to prove, he is making it clear that Boots needs this fight more than he does. Ennis is still working to reach legendary status, while Crawford believes he has already proven himself and shown the boxing world exactly who he is.
I haven't fought this guy, and when I do fight these guys, or when I do step up, then it's always an excuse. So now that 38 years old, about to be 39, I don't have nothing to prove. I didn't win everything there is to win. I hope that Jaron have half of the career that I had, or surpass me. If he surpassed me, I'm going to be rooting for him. I'm going to be giving him his props. I'm not the type of fighter that, want to see him fail. I want to see him succeed. I want to congratulate him. I want to see him, make it to the Hall of Fame and, congratulate him and things like that, but when you say, oh, he would knock Terence Crawford out, or Terence Crawford ducked him, or Terence Crawford ran, and that's why Terence Crawford retired, it pisses me off sometimes, but
Boots did not seem bothered by Crawford's claim that he has nothing left to prove. From his perspective, it sounds like a safe response. Crawford can say he is 10 steps ahead, laugh about it online, and remind everyone of his legendary career, but Boots sees things differently. If Crawford truly believes Ennis has no chance of beating him, then Boots wants him to get back in the ring and prove it. His message is simple. Crawford cannot keep talking about retirement while acting as if the outcome is already decided. Either fight and prove your point or stop treating Ennis like he is not worth facing.
Easy, big dog. You got anything in closing? Anything we didn't have?
Nah. Just
Yeah.
I'm definitely a fan of boxing. You know, I'm gonna be in Australia. I'm gonna be,
Oh yeah, I know you're gonna be over there. Yeah.
I'm gonna be supporting Spence, rooting him on.
Yeah.
You know, I just like to support, fighters in his own right. I didn't been in Boots' locker room supporting him. So yeah, it's just crazy how the tables turn. When people get to a certain plateau and they forget about things like that.
We picking Earl. I'm
Of
picking
course,
Earl.
of course,
Sean. Y'all
of
got it?
course.
Yeah.
Shot better.
We gotta see. We gotta see.
Wow.
According to Shannon Sharp, Chad Okasinko Johnson, and Joe Johnson, Boots is rushing into a fight with Terence Crawford too soon. They believe Crawford still holds the advantage with his experience, ring IQ, patience, timing, and ability to find different ways to win. While Boots is younger, stronger, and exciting to watch, Bud has already proven himself against the best fighters in the world. That is why they are not ready to pick Boots over Crawford. In their view, Bud remains the top fighter because he can spot mistakes before they happen, make adjustments better than almost anyone in boxing, and take advantage of opponents the moment they become too comfortable. As dangerous as Boots is, they still believe Crawford is on a completely different level right now.
We ain't worried about retired. We focus on tasking and taking over this division. We ain't worried about retired fighters.
Yeah, y'all keep on throwing Terence up. Terence took you, he retired. Leave Terence alone. Let him do what he's supposed to do. Y'all have fun.
Rick Glazer shifted the Boots Ennis versus Terence Crawford debate toward business, arguing that even if fans want the fight, Crawford has already said he is retired and no one is likely to pay him enough to face Ennis when a much bigger payday could come from a Canelo rematch worth well over $50 million. Vinny's Corner also sided with Crawford, saying Bud would stop Boots and warning fans to stop asking for the fight because he believes Crawford's timing, patience, defense, counterpunching, and ring IQ are on a completely different level. Lou DiBella offered a more balanced opinion, giving Boots credit for an impressive and exciting performance while saying that, if the fight happened right now, Crawford would still win. He explained that Bud and trainer Bomac likely noticed the same defensive flaws everyone else saw, but also pointed out that Ennis is still young, improving, and has not reached his prime, making the matchup more dangerous for Crawford if he waits too long. Boxing Massacre strongly backed Crawford, claiming Boots is overrated and saying Bud would expose every weakness and end the hype around him. On the other hand, Ray Jackson completely disagreed, arguing that Ennis has the size, speed, youth, power, and confidence to beat Crawford and believes Boots is a real threat rather than just chasing attention. Crawford later added more fuel to the discussion with a brief comment, saying he would keep his thoughts to himself but hoped everyone understood, leading many fans to believe he spotted weaknesses in Boots' performance without needing to explain them. Although Ennis won, he was hit clean several times and showed openings that a veteran like Crawford would immediately recognize. Sean Porter, who has shared the ring with Crawford, also weighed in, praising Boots for his athleticism, versatility, and offensive skills while emphasizing that Bud is a different challenge because of his patience, intelligence, ability to adjust during a fight, and talent for taking away an opponent's strengths. Porter believes Ennis is a dangerous fighter, but against someone like Crawford, even one mistake can completely change the outcome of the fight.
If Bud would fight him like he fought Canelo, Bud is a lot smarter than you think. Bud, people sleep on Bud. I don't know why. I mean, he's the only man that's unified 3 divisions. And you don't see guys go from 140 to 68. Jump 3, basically one fight at 54. Basically, he jumped 3 divisions. 3. Come on now. But I don't know. I don't know if Bud's like, look, man, I done made money. Now it's time for me to sit back and let these young fellas, let the other fellas have it. He a 4 division champ. He's a 3 division unified champ. Let that sink in. In the 4-belt era, he got 3 divisions in which he had all.
The reason is simple. Bud does not need this fight the way Boots does. Ennis is chasing a career-defining name and trying to prove he belongs among the best fighters in boxing, while Crawford has already built an outstanding resume, won the biggest fights of his career, and reached a position where he can choose only the matchups that make the most sense for him.
and power.
with speed and power.
I just think
and
this,
creativity.
You just don't see that. That's what this would have been.
Yep.
100%.
A plus versus A.
That's A plus versus A. I like that.
Terrence just a little too much and will catch him.
Yeah.
And buzz boots. And I think that'll. I think Terrence stops him.
It's such a special fight because you got two alpha males in the ring that are true alpha males. You know what I mean? I was an alpha male until I got in the ring with that dude.
It just
that dude it was like the more he wasn't allowing me to do what he wasn't, and it was like, damn, okay, well then you know.
You had one of them in eights and the other in sparring?
I don't know, because that dude hit me with a right hand in the sparring, and I was like, I was like, yo, that was.
That is why boxing ego's point carries so much weight. Fans may want to see Bud face Boots, and Ennis may keep calling him out, but Crawford is not in a position where he has to respond to every rising fighter looking to build their name by facing him. If Bud decides to return, it will have to be for a truly massive opportunity that makes sense for his career.
Bud Crawford makes it official, rejects the notion that he could come out of retirement to face Jaron Boots Ennis, stating he really has nothing to prove, wishes Boots Ennis well on his journey, but he ain't coming out of retirement for no dang Jaron.
That is why Boxing Ego's point hits hard. Fans may want Bud versus Boots, and Boots may keep calling his name, but Crawford is not in a position where he has to answer every young fighter trying to use his name. If Bud comes back, it has to be for something huge, either massive money or a legacy fight that really motivates him.
Now, I do notice that there's a lot of times where Crawford, he's very passive aggressive. Like, you could tell he got this far in his career being a competitor and being very competitive, not wanting to lose, because you would hear that message and you would be like, all right, he's showing mad love to the youngin, to Jaron Boots Ennis, who actually, he just turned like 29, I believe. He had a birthday. But you hear that and you're like, all right, Crawford was being cool. But then you look at his social media last night and he had like a snarky type of tweet that everybody knows was pretty much sneak dissing Jaron Boots Ennis, like, I got a lot to say, but I'm going to just keep it to myself. So Crawford is a competitor, and I noticed that he does a lot of passive aggressive stuff where yesterday night after the fight, you're kind of like alluding to, insinuating, and subliminally getting at Boots. But now you're like, I wish him well. People are all, you're being the bigger person. And then also, in the same interview, he said this, play the clip.
I don't worry about coming back to prove anything, because me coming back and proving something to people that it doesn't matter.
Then, Ashaqui Foster delivered one of the strongest reactions to Boots Ennis' victory, saying the performance has earned him a place in the pound-for-pound conversation. His comments highlighted just how significant the win was, not simply because Boots looked impressive, but because of the quality of the opponent. Xander Zayas entered the fight undefeated, full of confidence, and carrying the reputation of a championship-level fighter. Instead of narrowly beating him, Boots systematically broke him down before scoring the stoppage. That is why Foster believes Ennis now deserves to be mentioned among the very best fighters in boxing. A victory like this changes how people view a fighter, turning him from a rising talent into someone who belongs in the sports elite discussion.
Jaron Boots Ennis has now put himself, I think, into the pound-for-pound conversation. Like, without a doubt for me, he's now in the top 10 pound-for-pound, and I need to think very quickly about what number he sits at. Because yesterday, he beat an unbeaten champion and stopped him. I repeat myself. He beat an unbeaten champion and stopped him. Didn't go to points, wasn't controversial, beat him up. And I don't say that lightly, because Xander Zayas threw back. There was a time in that fight, I think it was round 3, was Xander Zayas started throwing back, and I even was on my Instagram story. I was like, okay, we have a fight, because the crowd started to get into it. It was the first time in a long time. I feel like we've seen Boots hurt, never really shaken, but you see Boots get connected. But Boots kind of took a back seat, like, okay, this guy's starting to land on me. And I was like, okay, this is it. Boots, though, is almost a bit, I'm trying to think of the fighter, Nigel Benn-esque for our UK viewers. When you hit him, he wants to hit you back. Almost a bit like a child in the playground. Like there is no, okay, you're hitting me, I'm going to go on the defense and run away. No, fire with fire. And that was almost Xander Zayas' undoing because Boots just hits too hard. He's too strong. He's too fast. And ultimately, he's just too good. He's too good. He's had a couple of good performances.